Hello everyone, I'm Jack Roberts. I'm Senior Editor with Heavy Duty Trucking Magazine and TruckingInfo.com. I am a 26-year industry veteran as a journalist covering the transportation industry. I'm a Class A CDL holder, and over the past several years I have spent a great deal of time writing about and talking about new technology coming into the trucking industry today. Now, when I write my stories today, a lot of times I'm writing about automated vehicle systems, I'm writing about battery electric trucks. But in the beginning, there was emissions. Back when I was a sort of new editor, it was the California Air Resource Board, CARB, that put the first technological innovations into the exhaust after-treatment system. And we wrote a lot about the new technologies that were being introduced at the time. This would have been around 2007, 2010, to deal with these new regulations. Well, CARB is still with us today, and if you are a refrigerated transportation fleet, and not just truck fleets, as we'll learn soon enough, CARB is now coming for you next year with a new round of regulations that are targeting idling refrigeration units. And so I'm here in Rogers, Arkansas today, up in the Ozark Mountains, as a guest of Purkeys, a subsidiary of Mission Critical Electronics. They've got a new solution, a shore power solution. It is very elegant, it is very cool, and I'm going to introduce you to some people who are going to talk through this new shore power solution that will help you head off these pending CARB regulations when they come. Now, real quick, no matter what you think about emissions regulations, no matter what you think about CARB, it is worth remembering that California is the world's 6th largest economy. There is a lot of money in California. Moreover, so goes California, so goes the rest of the country when it comes to emissions regulations. Now, next year, as I mentioned, in California, it will be illegal to idle a refrigerated transportation unit, whether you're doing cold storage, waiting to unload. You will have to have some sort of shore power zero emissions option to help you be compliant with the law. This is merely the first step toward even more stringent regulations that are coming online from CARB in 2023 and 2025. Their ultimate goal is zero emissions electric refrigeration units, what we're calling ETRU, electric transport refrigeration units. Now, there's a lot more information about this on the Trucking Info website, a story written by yours truly called CARB Comes for Trailers. Be sure and look that up. But in the meantime, I'm now going to introduce you to some people who are going to talk about Purkeys' new SAFX system developed by MCE's Cosmol Electronics, and it's for fleets who are soon going to be dealing with these refrigeration issues. And to help me walk you through this, I'm introducing now Dale Tompkins, President of Mission Critical Electronics Vehicle Power Group. Dale, take it away.
Thank you, Jack. Hello, my name is Dale Tompkins, President of Mission Critical Electronics Vehicle Power Group, and the brands of Xantrax, Cosmol Electronics, and Purkeys. Our parent company, Mission Critical Electronics, is home to 7 of the best-known brands in electrical control and energy management. Especially when the mission is critical, where safety and reliability are paramount. Thank you for taking the time to join us today in the demonstration of the SAFX system. Over the course of the demonstration, you're going to see 3 killer apps. 3 applications of technology that solve problems and creates value for e-true electrification. At the center of the SAFX system is a killer app known as the Auto Eject. You have a receptacle as well as the cable and plug. The Auto Eject is mission critical technology. It was invented at Cosmol Electronics over 25 years ago for firemen and ambulance operators who needed batteries charged 100% of the time, and so no human injury or property damage occurred in the drive-off maneuver. For over 25 years, there has been over 250,000 applications of this technology across North America and Europe, providing safe power to the most demanding of our first responders. Now, there's a natural extension of powering emergency vehicles into powering reefers, and that is what we're here to show you today. What you're going to see is patent-pending technology in the application of that Auto Eject into e-trues, into trucking, and into vehicle electrification. Collectively, the technology is known as the SAFX system and has a number of component parts. With that, I'll turn it back to Jack.
Well, if you've ever been anywhere near the trucking industry, particularly the TMC show, and you ever talk to any fleet managers, the first thing you learn is that these guys love details when it comes to new technology. Now, I'm the type of person, I'm a writer, so when I need details on information, I go to the experts. And luckily for all of us, Purkeys has provided us with 2 engineers who were intimately involved with the design of the new SAFX system. I'm going to introduce y'all to Larry Rambo, Cody Johnson. Guys, take it away and tell us what's up with the new system.
Thank you very much, Jack. My name is Larry Rambo. I've been with Purkeys for 29 plus years. I am a sales application engineer. 29 years, I've done many different roles: sales, training, support, kind of you name it, any way we can take care of our customers. Also, I'm very involved with TMC and many different state organizations as well, so we try to be as involved as we can in the industry with our fleet customers and our channel partners.
My name is Cody Johnson. I'm the product development engineer for Purkeys, and I've had experience in power electronics engineering as well as power systems engineering. I've worked with utilities in both software and hardware development. And with Purkeys, I'm happy and excited to show you the system that we have today to solve some of the largest problems that are currently experienced with e-trues and which are only going to become more prevalent as time goes on. So let's show them the system. So the greatest problem in the operation of e-trues with shore power, 480 volts, are driveaways. Whenever drivers need to leave, it's just not part of their operational behavior to unplug the unit and then drive away. They just get in and drive. So that creates damage to the shore power system, the trailer itself, and can potentially create a hazard with live wires in the ground. So Larry, set the stage for us. Tell them where we are.
All right, you can see from our backdrop, this would be like a distribution center, maybe a grocery store, warehouse, maybe in the fleet's yard, but anywhere we have our point of power. If you notice here, we've got units between garage doors, but it can be as simple as units plugged in on the lot, or even a unit like this that may be in a shop. You have a loaded trailer that has to get some work done. It's got a very valuable load on. You want to make sure you're keeping that product cold. So you may have a unit like this even in the shop. But no matter what, it's our point of power for this system.
So we're going to show you how the SAFX system works, but before we do that, I want to give you an overview of some of its components. So first and foremost, we have the autosave. This unit is a no-load dropout, meaning that whenever it doesn't detect a load, it makes sure that your cable is not energized, so that it can be safely handled and operated by your driver. Next is our standard IEC 4-pin pin and sleeve plug. Next is the auto eject. The auto eject receptacle is attached directly to the trailer, and it is then wired to connect to the e-true at the front of the trailer as a spring-loaded lid and sealed whenever it's closed. The SAFX triggering mechanism can come from several different sources from the tractor. Here we have it demonstrated as a brake cable, and Larry will give you some more information about that here in a moment. But lastly, we have a series of cable management apparatus to make sure that the cables stay off the ground and managed so that they're out of the way safely, particularly in congested environments. So the operation of this system is very simple. It requires a minimum amount of training. You take your 4-pin pin and sleeve connector and insert it into the auto eject. Now note that this cable still has no power connected to it. Until you energize the system by pressing the power button on the autosave, which illuminates whenever it's on, no power is flowing. When you do press the button, it illuminates, delivers power to the auto eject, and then powers your e-true. Your e-true now runs idle and emission-free on nothing but electricity. But this trailer can't stay here forever. So Larry, walk us through what happens next.
Yes, so trailer's been unloaded, reloaded. It's time to go a couple hours later or whatever the situation may call for. But the beauty of the system is, again, that signal from the tractor. Right now we're showing you a brake activated trigger, but that can be a ignition, it can be a park valve, many different ways we can get that signal to say disconnect. When I hit this brake pedal, you're going to notice the plug kicks out. So if you watch down there, kicked it out, the cable management system pulled it away. Now, all that happened in less than 2 seconds, but a lot of things happened during that 2 seconds. As soon as the brake pedal's hit, or ignition, whatever that trigger is, it first shuts off the load inside the trailer, which would be the true unit. Then, as it starts to eject the plug, it will shut off the SAFX autosave device and clear the plug. Why all that's important is we want to make sure we never are disconnecting a live circuit. So again, we shut the load off and shut the system off so there is no arcing of those contacts, there's no carbon buildup on those contacts, and again, it's very, very safe.
And you see on your screen, what achieves that is the safety pin that's inside of here. So as the plug is inserted, the safety pin is depressed, connects the load, as it's ejected, comes out, disconnects the load, protects from that marking. So I want to say a few more words about the connector. This connector is an international standard which is used in intermodal, rail, and is also the default installation on most modern e-trues. So availability is not an issue here. Also, the autosave is UL listed, so you can be confident in its construction and its reliability. Now, I'd also like to go through a few more details about the cable management systems. So, cable management depends on what your installation looks like. You can have something as simple as a manual cable hook, so that your drivers just roll up the cable whenever it's done. You can have an automatic cable retraction system that pulls the cable out of the way automatically. You can have a manual cable reel. This one's NEMA 4 rated. It can be configured to be constant tension or ratchet operated. You'll also see on your screen the auto reel, which automatically winds up the cable as the plug is ejected from the auto eject. And there's also an automatic festoon retraction system that we're calling the auto reach. Each of these applications for cable management have different levels of automation incorporated with them. And you can go from a fully manual system to a 100% automatic system. The manual system requires driver interaction in order to actually hang it up, but these automated systems make sure that the plug never touches the ground. And despite the fact that it's never energized, this is particularly important for environments that might be wet, docks that have some standing water. It's an important part of safety, particularly in congested environments where there's a risk of running the plug over. So now we want to show you one more time just how quick and easy it is to operate the system now that we've already gone through some detail. Again, take the plug, insert into the auto eject, energize the system with the autosave. And whenever the trailer is ready to move away,
Again, simple brake pedal, auto eject and retract.
so it's that simple. SAFX system, tried and true for 25 years. Back to you, Jay.
All right, gentlemen, thank you very much. Nice job. At this point, I'd like to note that we are live on YouTube, Facebook, other social media platforms. So if you have any questions, by all means, send them in right now. We would love for you to, the guys would love to answer your questions. First thing I want to say is I write a lot about technology over the years, and I'm always struck when I see a new solution, when the solution is elegant and simple. And it really seems like that's something that you guys were going for here. Is that a good summation?
Oh, absolutely. We wanted to make sure that whenever drivers interacted with the system, that they didn't have to think about it. They have enough on their plates as it is. These are not easy to back up. And they're not easy to drive. So the less they have to think about, the better.
Now, the other thing that jumps out at me, and I'm sure there's going to be a lot of interest out there on the fleet management side, is the 480 volt power system. Talk that through a little bit. Why'd you go with that option?
So 480 volts are what most of the e-trues run on by default anyways. So that's where we wanted to start. It covers the widest swath of applications for this. 480 volt power is also widely available in most industrial environments, and if it's not too difficult to get in there with the help of an electrician.
Now, I think we really need to circle back for a minute and talk about zero emissions. This is not just a term, this is not going to be in California, this is something that is eventually going to affect the entire country. Can you talk a little bit about the implications for these new regulations?
Absolutely. So ZER, zero emission refrigeration, is where we are right now in the market. But zero emission writ large has wide implications for trucking in particular. Our drivers and our dock workers are exposed to noise pollution, to hazardous fumes that are emitted by the diesel burning, and the maintenance costs of them are quite high by comparison to a lot of our zero emission solutions. So this is really the future of the industry, starting with the CARB regulations and then moving across the country and the world really over the next several years.
Now, I'm a trucking journalist, that's my focus, and of course we've got the mini Kenworth over here. You would think Kenworths are bigger, but no, I'm just kidding. So my focus is always on fleet managers, but this is not really just limited to the trucking industry at all, this solution, is it?
No, it's not. So this, as we mentioned before, this connector is a international standard 4-pin pin and sleeve that's applicable to intermodal applications, but this application is also not just for fleets, it's for OEMs of various stripes, whether that is e-true manufacturers, trailer manufacturers, or warehouse refrigerated storage. There are lots of applications for this type of shore power.
Ports, maritime, all that stuff. Talk a little bit about ETRU adaptation and CARB's anti-idling regulations. Again, we want to stress, this is not just California, although that would be the initial impact. This will eventually Canada, Mexico, United States, even Europe eventually, correct?
Absolutely. The E2 regulations that are coming over the next few years, ending in 2025, whenever the last bit of it kicks in, really requires no idling while loading and unloading. So it's all reference to these off-road engines, which include diesel-operated e-trues. So these e-trues are hybrids frequently now. It's quickly going to move into full electric. I know several of the reefer OEs already have full electric models that are gaining wide adoption very quickly.
So I said simple, I said elegant. And to do that, you got to have a pretty solid, comprehensive design philosophy. So why don't you talk us through real quick the key components to this system. What, in your estimation, makes it simple and what makes it elegant?
So whenever Dale did his intro, he mentioned 3 killer apps. The most important one is the auto eject. This is the one that really makes the magic happen. It automatically ejects the plug from driver input. The second, I said this is most important, but almost equally important is this trigger mechanism. The fact that the driver doesn't have to think about ejecting that plug is one thing less that he or she has to think about whenever they're doing
It's
this
just
job.
not on their mental checklist, right?
And it doesn't have to be with this kind of system. Lastly, the cable management is very important from a safety perspective. Particularly with high power systems, you want to make sure that everything is not only well labeled, but it's also managed. It's out of the way. It doesn't lend itself to damage or interaction if you don't have to.
Well, Larry, you've been getting off easy, so I got a question for you. The other thing fleet managers always want to know, who do they call if they want to get it installed? How's it going to get installed? What's the warranty like? What do they do if there's a problem?
First part of that, or first answer to that question would be, it all starts with a visit with the fleet. That we want to look at their application, their location, see what they need. Again, many different options for the cable management. What do they need for their operation, how they operate? If it's a 100% fleet that's based in California, comes back every night, probably won't need as much automation as somebody that is not going there all the time. If you have a carrier from outside California that travels there seldom, that automation is going to be a lot more important because they're not doing it nearly as often as somebody that is and comes back to the same dock every night. As far as service, all those things, we work with the fleets directly, or maybe we will work with a distribution center, warehouse, to find out what they need. We have to work with them in conjunction with the electrician to make sure they get the right power. We do the training and initial installs, or we can do all the installs depending upon what they need. Then we, back it up with years of service support to make sure that product lasts them a long time and does good service.
Sounds to me like you really, simplicity, there's really, if you're going to be faced with these regulations, whether you're a facility owner, whether you're a fleet manager, doesn't sound to me like you have to do a whole lot to meet these regulations if you're using the SAFX system. Is that kind of the goal?
That's right. The hardest part is really the infrastructure. If you have the power at the dock to run the system, which, let's face it, you're going to have to sooner or later, then we can make it work fairly simply. The installation of the system is not terribly complex, and the operation is even simple.
Now, these regulations are new, this technology is new, but I think anybody who's covering this industry at all knows we're just at the very dawn of a new age of electrification. There's a lot of stuff coming. There's going to be systems building upon systems. Solar is becoming increasingly important in fleet operations, facility operations. Is this scalable? Have you factored in the near future into the SAFX system?
So Purkeys, in conjunction with our sister companies in mission critical electronics, have a full ecosystem of products that will meet the electrification needs of the vehicle space moving into the future. Our roadmap is full of very exciting products that we look forward to delivering in the very near future.
All right, the other big question. Fleet guys always want to know, what's this going to cost me?
Yeah, so the cost is comparable to non-automated systems that are currently in the marketplace for the similar applications, but it reflects the value of the automation that this brings. So remember that the automation here takes out all of the interaction of any of your drivers, other than having to plug it in whenever they get there, and then it's automatic.
All right, gentlemen, nice job. Thank you very much. Well, in summary, again, whatever you think of California, whatever you think of CARB, whatever you think of emissions regulations, these are going to be a reality, not just for the trucking industry, the maritime industry, food storage, distribution centers. Purkeys has come up with what I would dub an elegant and simple solution to help you meet these new regulations head on. If you have any questions, there's a number behind the guys right here. You can give them a call, get more information, and they will be happy to help you in any way they can. We thank you for your attention today, and hope you all have a good day. Thank you so much.